Good morning and Jai Hind, dear students. So students, the chapter which is going on is money and credit. And in this chapter we have discussed many topics. Topics like money as a medium of exchange, modern forms of money, loan activities of banks, and credit and its terms. So dear students, money as a medium of exchange. What is the meaning of this? In transactions, money acts as an medium. Like if we have to purchase something, we can exchange it by money. Or we have to sell something, then we will easily exchange it with money. So money acts as a medium of exchange. In this topic, we have discussed about barter system. What is barter system? So barter system is a system where goods are exchanged without the use of money. That is barter system. Even we discussed about double coincidence of bonds. What is it? When two parties, buyer and seller, when two parties are agreed to sell and buy each other commodities, then that is double coincidence of bonds, and that is an essential feature of barter system. Now come to modern forms of money. Dear students, we have different types of money in modern age. Like we have currency and coins, we have deposits in bank, which is known as demand deposits. Why deposits with banks are known as demand deposits? Because on demand we can withdraw our money from bank, so that is known as demand deposit. After that, check is also modern forms of money. What is a check? So a check is a paper, legal paper, which instructs bank to pay a specific amount to whose name is written in the check by his own account. That is check. So these are modern forms of money. After that, loan activities of banks. What we deposit in the bank keeps 15 to 20% with them for withdrawn purposes, and the rest of the amount they give it as a loan, and that is the main source of income of the banks. Then we discussed about credit and its terms. So dear students, we have discussed many things in credit. Especially we are going to discuss about what is credit, and even we will discuss who is lender and who is borrower. Then we will discuss about terms of credit. So first of all, every loan agreement specifies an interest rate which the borrower must pay to the lender along with the repayment of the principal. Who is lender? Who gives loan. And who is borrower? Who takes loan. So there are different types of terms of credit, and that we have to discuss. In credit, we have different types of terms. Even during credit, people ask for collateral also. Collateral, which is also known as security. What is collateral? So collateral is an asset that the borrower owns, that can be land, building, vehicle, livestock, deposits with banks. and uses this as a guarantee to lender until the loan is repaid. Okay, so interest rate, documentation requirement, collateral, and mode of repayment. These all four are known as terms of credit. Understand, dear students? So now we have to discuss a new things. So be with me. So dear students, today we will discuss about a variety of credit arrangements. Few examples of given. One example of a village is given. Rohit and Ranjan had finished reading about the terms of credit in class, as you read just now. They were eager to know the various credit arrangements that existed in their area. Who were the people who provided credit, who provided loan, who were the borrowers, what were the terms of credit. They decided to talk to some people in their village. Read what they record. Okay, so the first one is 15 November 2006. We head directly for the fields where most farmers and laborers would be working at this time of the day. The fields are planted with potato crops. We first meet Shyamal, a small farmer in Sonpur, a small irrigated village. So, what they discussed with Shyamal? Shyamal tells us that every season he needs loans for cultivation on his 1.5 acres of land. Till a few years back, he would borrow money from the village moneylender at an interest rate of 5% per month. And you know, if 5% per month, then the interest of per annum will be 60%. Means, suppose you have taken loan of 10,000 rupees at 5% interest rate per month. What it will be? It will be 6,000 rupees in 1 year. Only interest I am talking about. So, Shyamal has taken loan. For the last few years, Shyamal has been borrowing from an agricultural trader in the village at an interest rate of 3% per month. So at the beginning of the cropping season, the trader supplies the farm inputs on credit, which is to be repaid when the crops are ready for harvest. Normally, farmers of India, they take loan at the beginning of the cropping season, and after harvest, they repay the loan. Besides the interest charge on the loan, the trader also makes the farmers promise to sell the crop to him. Now try to understand. With interest, they are already giving interest rate, but they also take promise from farmers to sell the crop to him only. This way the trader can ensure that the money is repaid promptly. Also, since the crop prices are low after the harvest, the trader is able to make a profit from buying the crop at very low price from the farmers and then selling it later when the price has risen. So how trader is making profit from the same crop? Then so it was the story of Shyamal. Now we next meet Arun, who is supervising the work of one farm laborer. Arun has even acres of land. He is one of the few persons in Sonpur to receive bank loan for cultivation. And the interest rate on the loan is 8.5% per annum. Dear students, please remind, 8.5% per annum. While it was 60% per annum for Shamal from few sources and minimum 36% from few sources. So taking loan from bank is always a best option. Okay, so interest rate on the loan is 8.5% per annum and can be repaid anytime in the next 3 years. Arun plans to repay the loan after harvest by selling a part of the crops. He then intends to store the rest of the potatoes in a cold storage and apply for a fresh loan from the bank against the cold storage receipt. Means he got loan after showing the cold storage receipt, a fresh loan. The bank offers this facility to farmers who have taken crop loan from them. These are the different facilities given by different banks to the farmers. So it was a story of Arun. Now come to Rama. Rama is working in a neighboring field. She works as an agricultural laborer. There are several months in the year when Rama has no work and needs credit to meet the daily expenses. Expenses on sudden illness or functions in the family are also met through loans. And this is the story of most of the poor families of India. They take loan for different purposes. They took loan for their sudden illness. They take loan for functions in the family like marriages and different things. Rama has to depend on her employer, a medium landowner in Sonpur. For credit, the landowner charges an interest rate of 5% per month. Again, it is 60% per annum. Rama repays the money by working for the landowner. Most of the time, Rama has to take a fresh loan before the previous loan has been repaid. So at present, she owes the landowner rupees 5,000. Though the landowner doesn't treat her well, she continues to work for him since she can get loans from him then for her need. Rama tells us that the only source of credit for the landless people in Sonpur are the landowner employers, and it is true for different farmers in India also. It is not only a story of Sonpur. And you know, money lenders or landowners or employers, they charge high interest rate. Now another option is loan from cooperatives. Beside banks, the other major source of cheap credit in rural areas are the cooperative societies or cooperatives. You know, banks or cooperatives, they provide loan at very cheap interest rate. Members of a cooperative pool their resources for cooperation in certain areas. They save their savings. They pool their savings. There are several types of cooperative possible, such as farmers cooperatives, weavers cooperatives, industrial workers cooperatives, etc. Krisak cooperative functions in a village not very far away from Sonpur. It has 2,300 farmers as its members. It accepts deposits from its members with these deposits as collateral. The cooperative has obtained a large loan from the bank. These funds are used to provide loans to members. Once these loans are repaid, another round of lending can take place. So Krisak Cooperative provides loan for the purchase of, why they give loan, why they provide loan? So they provide loan for the purchase of agricultural implements, loans for cultivation and agricultural trade, fishery loans, loans for construction of house, and for a variety of other expenses. So dear students, so now you are easy to understand why people of village take loan, why farmers of village or different villages take loan. So there are different reasons. Farmers take loans for cultivation, they take loan, they take crop loan, and when they take loan from any money lender or landowner, the interest rate is very high. Normally 5% per month, or you can say 60% per annum. But they also take loan from banks and cooperatives, where the interest rate is very low and mode of repayment is very easy. So there are different sources where people take loan. Even poor people take loan for different purposes at home, for sudden illness, for different functions at home, and many more. So the next segment we will discuss about which type of sources are there where people take loan. So dear students, let's start. So dear student, there are two types of sources. Where people get loan. So first of all, there are two different types of sources, or we can say credit sources, where people can take a loan. And what are those? So one is formal sector credit. Formal sector credit, and another one is informal sector. So dear students, there are two sources from where people take loan. And we have seen in the above examples that people obtain loans from various sources. So various types of sources, various types of loan sources can be conveniently grouped as formal sector loans and informal sector loans. So dear students, among the former are loans from banks and cooperatives. Clear? So when people take loan from banks or listen it carefully, dear students. When people take loan from banks or cooperatives, then this sector is known as formal sector credit resources or formal sector loans. Clear? When people take loan from banks or cooperatives, that is known as loan from formal sector. While when people take loan from money lender, which I have informed, money lender, money lenders, traders, after that employers, money lenders, traders, employers, even relatives and friends. Relatives and friends. So, people take loan from various sources and conveniently they are grouped as formal sector and informal sector. So when people take loan from banks and cooperatives, it means they take loan from formal sector. And when people take loan from money lenders, traders, employers, relatives and even friends, then that is the informal sector, credit from informal sector. So dear students, now there is one graph in your book. Please see once. It is graph 1. Sources of credit for rural households in India in 2003. It is given in your book. And page number is it is just section of formal sector credit in India, page number 48. Understand? So there one graph is given. In that graph, it is showing that rural households are getting credit from which source? So 30% they take loan from money lenders, 1% from landlords, 3% from traders, 7% from relatives and friends, and again 7% from other sources. So we can see 30 plus 1, 31, 34, 41 and 48. So 48% of loan requirement is fulfilled by informal sector. They take loan from money lenders, landlords, traders, relatives and friends and even others. Then you just come to 25% from commercial banks and 27% from cooperative societies. So 52% loan requirement is fulfilled by formal sector. So according to this graph, dear students, formal sectors fulfill requirement of 52% of loan, while informal sector 48%. Okay, so graph 1, you can see the various sources for credit to rural households in India. Is more credit coming from the formal sector or the informal sector? So first of all, we have to understand what is formal sector and what is informal sector. So dear students, you know about the Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is a central bank of India which regulates the functions and working of all the banks in India. So the Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans. Clear? The Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of formal sources of loan. means what should be interest rate, or for instance we have seen that the banks maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposits they receive, CRR, cash reserve ratio. I already explained that banks keep 15 to 20% of deposits with them for withdrawn purposes. Same I am discussing here. So for instance, we have seen that the banks maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposits they receive. And it is the RBI, it is the Reserve Bank of India that monitors the banks actually maintain the cash balance or not. It is the function of RBI. RBI supervises like this. Similarly, the RBI sees that the banks give loans not just to profit-making businesses and traders, but also to small cultivators, small-scale industries, to small borrowers, etc. It is the duty of RBI. Otherwise, what will have? Bank will never give loan to small farmers, to small cultivators. They will give loan only to profit-making businesses. But it is the supervision of RBI, and RBI sees that bank should give loan not just to profit-making businesses and traders, but also to small cultivators, small-scale industries, and even to small borrowers. Periodically, means time to time, banks have to submit information to the RBI on how much they are lending, to whom, and at what interest rate, etc. So it is very clear, dear students, that banks and cooperative, especially I am talking about banks, to whom they are giving loans, how much they are giving loans, and at what interest rate they are giving loan. That all are supervised by Reserve Bank of India, and time to time they have to submit all banks have to submit information to Reserve Bank of India. So we can say that formal sector works under the supervision of Reserve Bank of India. Understand? Now, what about informal sector? So now it is clear that formal sector's loans or formal sector is supervised by the Reserve Bank of India, or you can say they works under the supervision of Reserve Bank of India. Now, what about informal sector? So dear students, there is no organization which supervises the credit activities of lenders in the informal sector. Clear? There is no organization. That's why interest rates are very high. That's why mode of repayment is very, sometimes it is very in bad conditions. So there is no organization. So you can say formal sector works under the supervision of RBI, but informal sector, there is no organization which supervises the credit activities of lenders in the informal sector. They can lend at whatever interest rate they choose. It's upon them. They cannot take interest rate. Banks cannot take interest rate according to their own wish. They have to take interest which is already informed or which is decided by the Reserve Bank of India. But there is no organization who can supervise informal sector. So they decide what interest rate they have to take, and that's why they charge a high interest rate. There is no one to stop them from using unfair means to get their money back. Many times they use unfair means to get their money back, and there is no one to stop them. One more thing, compared to the formal lenders, most of the informal lenders charge a much higher interest on loans. That I have already told, and I already shown that banks charge 8.5% per annum. It is interest rate. But at the same time, informal sector, the people charge 5% per month, 3% per month. Then high, and just try to understand, higher cost of borrowing. If someone is taking loan at high interest rate, so higher cost of borrowing means a larger part of the income, of the earning of the borrower is used to repay the loan. Hence, borrowers have less income left with them. What happened with Shamal? Even in certain cases, the high interest rate of borrowing can mean that the amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. Many times it happens. Many people, usually they take loan, they have to pay more what they are earning. And this could leads to increasing debt, as we saw for the Rama in Sonpur, and debt trap. Also, people who might wish to start an enterprise by borrowing may not do so because the interest rate is very high, the high cost of borrowing. So for these reasons, banks and cooperative societies need to lend more and more people. If they will give loans to more and more people, then it will be easy. This would lead to higher incomes and many people could then borrow cheaply for a variety of needs. They could grow crops, do businesses, set up small scale industries, etc. They could set up new industries or trade in goods. So here we can say cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development. If people will get cheap loan, then their income will be high. And if their income will be high, then it will help in the economical development of the country. Understand, dear students? So that's why we have discussed today formal sector and informal sector. I am just revising one more time that when people take loan from banks and cooperatives, then it is loan from formal sector. Formal sector is supervised by the Reserve Bank of India. How Reserve Bank of India supervise this sector? So, to whom they are giving loan, how much they are giving loan, what is the interest rate, and what is the mode of repayment. Everything is supervised by the Reserve Bank of India, and time to time banks have to submit these information to RBI. This sector provides cheap and affordable credit to the people. Now come to informal sector. There is no organization, dear students, which supervises this sector. That's why it upon them that to whom they are giving loan, at what interest they are giving loan, and how they are taking their money back. There is no one to stop them. That's why there is need that formal sector should increase their loan capacity and everyone should get loan from formal sector. So dear students, today mainly we have discussed about formal sector and informal sector. In next period, we will discuss some other topics of this chapter. Again, it is my humble request to each and everyone that please read all the topics very carefully. And the other topics we will discuss in next period. Till then, thank you and have a nice day. Take care.